this is Aaron, or as some people know me online, Cobalt. This is my review of Project Acceleracers, one of the hardest and most fun games I've ever played. It is very difficult. It's like the Dark Souls of racing games. I just wanted to say before I start that this game is a work in progress. And the reason I've chosen to review this over something like TFT or Apex Legends or anything like that is because this is a game you haven't played. This is a game you don't know anything about. You haven't got an opinion of this game coming in, but hopefully you'll have some idea of what we've got here, what great game we've got in development here by the time you come out of it. So this is currently in development by someone known as the Cat Plays Games. He has a few videos up on YouTube showcasing it, but it is a brilliant game already, and I'm looking forward to how it goes as it finishes. It's a basic screen at the moment. Obviously there will be improvements as the game gets more improved, but hopefully things go well. We're going to take a quick look at the credits first. So Cat Plays Games is the lead developer, and there are a few other people helping work on it. They've done a brilliant job, and they're still doing a brilliant job. The rate that updates are coming out for this game and the rate bug fixes are coming out has been brilliant, and the game is fun, and it is just a breath of fresh air, just a bit of my childhood. This is all fan made, so it's not official or anything. It's all based on the Acceleracers TV series, movie series that was done, I think, on Cartoon Network by Mattel, back in like sometime in the early to mid 2000s, around 2002, 2006, somewhere around there. It's honestly just a really good game. It has a lot of just, things you can mess with here just for your resolution, your textures, your quality, everything like that. Your graphics and everything like that. You don't want it to be too much effort for your PC, I guess. It is controller compatible, so I've currently got an Xbox One controller plugged in. But I just want to go through and show you how difficult this game is. We're going to start with the first car. All these cars are based on Hot Wheels cars, and they all have their own stats and everything like that. So it's good. Each car is unique in that way. I'm just going to go through the tutorial level first, just because I just want to, I just want to show you what it's like, what it looks like, and things like that. So this is just the basic tutorial level. All the controls are there for you. Unfortunately, you can't get them off screen yet. I think a button should be added for that, but as I said, it's all still in development. It's pre-alpha. This is more or less just so you can learn how the game plays and things like that. The physics are a little funky sometimes. It is all done in, I think it's Unreal Engine 4, I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't understand too much about game development. But if we... hang on. So yeah, the physics are a little funky. Sometimes things like that can happen. We're gonna prop ourselves up off the side here and boost. And if you have a look, it's one of those play mats that kids have, which, is a really nice little touch just to the tutorial level. It's not like that on the others. It is still a work in progress, and there's not a lot going on other than that. So we're going to have a look at the first of the realms. I'm not going to go through every realm for you because some of these are big, long tracks and quite difficult to drive on. So I'm just going to go through each one. Probably should have talked more about the Acceleracers, but that's alright. It's not that big a deal at the moment. It's still a work in progress. Pretty much everything here is, so there's not a lot of stuff in the background or anything. Every part of this game is difficult. There's not really any easy parts per se. Different cars have different advantages and disadvantages on different tracks. This one is a very well balanced car, so it's good overall. But simple as that, just not turning it off, and I've come off the track. There's no, when you reset at the start of the level every single time. There's no checkpoints or anything. And these tracks, some of them can take up to 5 minutes to complete. So it's quite difficult to stay on the tracks, and it's designed that way. And it's a huge learning curve to try and like understand what you're doing and things like that. We gotta go for this one. So here's the Accelerome. As I said, it is a work in progress. There's no like real textures or anything other than the Wheel of Power. All this stuff is stuff that if you've watched the series, you'll understand what it is. Each track has its own unique music. So the music's not unique to the cars, unfortunately. It is unique to the tracks, but that's fine. Look at this massive loop, and it all just is big Hot Wheels-esque tracks. So these all look like Hot Wheels tracks. These are directly Hot Wheels cars. So they've actually used actual car models for the images, for the models. And yeah, these tracks are very difficult to drive. The cars are even more difficult to drive. I promise this is much harder than I'm making it look, and I'm not making it look very easy. So at the moment I'm just sort of having a bit of fun with it, but I'm just trying to show off a lot of, you know, what the game can do, or what it presents and offers and stuff like that. See, like, because I put my wheel up on the edge there, it did throw me pretty much, and that ruined my run. So, but you can see just how complex and how many corners that track has, and I couldn't even make it 2 minutes in without having to reset. As you can see, it is very unfinished, so some things, like this big cliff section up top here, this isn't very important to the gameplay itself, so it's unfinished and untextured and stuff like that. That will eventually be done, but as I said, we're in pre-alpha, so it's still very early on. You'll notice that the sky is getting a little darker. This one does have dynamic lighting. It does actually, the sunsets and everything, you can watch the sunset. And taking shortcuts is actually just as hard as just doing the track normally. So that's a good thing to have. That's the wrong button. Each track is individual in its own little way, as are the cars. Some of the cars currently have interiors. So this one has its interior done already. That probably shouldn't show what's outside the car, but that's alright. We're still, as I said, pre-alpha. Driving from internal is actually really difficult. It's so much easier to just go in third person right now, just because the cars are very hard to see out of. The ice has no traction on it for the ice roll. You can see there the track is actually under the ice here, so it's quite hard to actually drive on this one. I'm actually going to get onto the track here, which it does eventually show up. You don't just drive on ice the whole time, that would be ridiculous. But the track, as you can see, looks a little different to the other tracks. It actually has got ice coating on it, and you are driving on ice the whole time. Like, I could be on full brakes here and still just sliding. Like, it's very hard to stay straight on this track. This is what I would say is the hardest track in the game, just because there is no traction and most of these cars are not very grippy, so you just slide. All the cars have unique engine sounds and things like that. All the tracks have their own unique stuff going on. One of them is about stability, because if your car is too unstable it will just flip off into oblivion. Let's see, let's try this one. So yeah, that's what this track here is. This car is what I would say is the hardest one of the game to drive. It is quite difficult. I'm just going to boost up a bit here. So this one is a low gravity track, so the slightest thing and your car just is gone. So that didn't take much at all, and I was just off the track. So it just spins out very easy because yeah, it's very hard for your car to actually get any sort of traction on here. The last thing I do want to show off is this beauty here, the sweeper. I will put it back on that same track. So you'll see that this is much bigger than the others. This one's actually technically a track in the Hot Wheels cars. It actually unfolds into a track. So you've got a handle there, it's meant to be a carry case for your cars and everything. It is massive, it's a monstrosity. And the actual point of it is that it's meant to, like in the show, it's meant to pick up other cars and just essentially eat them. And it does do that here too. You see it's got 13 gears. It's essentially a giant train. That's pretty much what we're looking at here. On the ice realm, you can drift the giant train and remake the scene out of Polar Express that everyone loves so dearly. Here on the main menu is the Ultimate Race, which is how fast you can complete all tracks in one sitting. As soon as you finish Storm Realm, you drop into Water Realm. As soon as you finish Water, you drop into Ice. Cat is going to rearrange the order of the realms. So it's not always going to be the same, but eventually he'll find an order he's happy with. And hopefully it'll go well from there. Okay, if I had to grade this game. So as far as story is concerned, unfortunately there isn't really a lot. Hopefully maybe Cat might be able to add some videos from the series to it, but it's not very likely. So as far as story is concerned, you do have a couple of movies you can watch. They're all available on YouTube, but there's not really any story in game other than what we've got already. So it is unfortunately a 3 out of 10 for story, but you don't need story for a racing game. It is a racing game. The campaign, so the single player aspect of the game, is brilliant. The cars drive really nice. As much as it feels like it's very difficult to play and stuff like that, it's still enjoyable. It's a very good difficulty. So I'm giving the campaign a 7 out of 10, just because, or the single player, a 7 out of 10, because it is a game that is fun, it's difficult, it's challenging. You've got to keep improving and learning how to play the game. Multiplayer, unfortunately, currently only works as LAN. So because the multiplayer only works as LAN, I haven't had a chance to test it. It is still in a very early stage of development. We're in pre-alpha of this game, so it's still in very basic testing. So it's unfair to give the multiplayer a review when not only have I not played it, it's not even finished. It doesn't work online just yet, and it shouldn't. We're still in a stage where we're trying to, there's like 30 racing realms or something. We currently have access to 7. So once we can access 30 racing realms, then I'll be asking for a multiplayer. Until then, it's not an essential part of the game because the game's still in development. So it would be unfair to give it a multiplayer review at the moment. Fun. The game is a lot of fun. Just because you do need to improve. You do need to get better at the game. You can't just be like, yeah, I have played racing games before, I can drop into this and know what I'm doing. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. The controls are fine, everything like that is fine. It's just that it is difficult it's a steep learning curve. So it is hard to play, but that's what makes it fun, and it's Hot Wheels. Hot Wheels is cool. Like, I'm nearly 30 and I still collect Hot Wheels cars. Hot Wheels is awesome. Acceleracers was probably the greatest thing Hot Wheels ever did. It was their best lineup. I bought so many of the Acceleracers cars. I've watched those movies so many times as a kid and as an adult. There's like a cult following for Acceleracers right now. It's come out of nowhere, despite the fact that the series has been finished for 15 years, or abruptly cancelled for about 15 years now. There's still a big, not a massive following, but it does have a following of very die-hard fans who are going to love this. And this game is exactly what they deserve. This is the perfect Acceleracers game. A game that we never got. Replayability? Well, yeah, it's challenging. You have to play a lot to improve. And sometimes you'll get frustrated, sometimes you'll be like, nah, I'm done, I'll walk away. And because of that, like, it does dock a few points. Sometimes you do get frustrated, but any game will do that to you. I don't think there's any difficult game that you're not going to get frustrated with. So that's fine if you do sometimes crack it. The game itself is one that forces you to improve and get better and go back to it. And because all the 20 cars drive so differently, and there's going to eventually be more than 40 cars, because they all drive so differently, you are going to keep coming back and you're going to try different cars on different tracks, because it shows you your record, it shows you your best time. That's a reason to come back and try again, improve on your time, do better. So it is brilliant. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 for replayability, because I haven't stopped playing it and I've only got a demo essentially. How to improve is my last category for reviewing something, and I think it is a very unfair category for a game that is unfinished. It's barely been started, but there are a few ways to improve, and I'm sure Kat knows all of them. First up, the physics. Sometimes your car bounces and spins into oblivion. That's a bad thing to have in a game, even if it is an arcadey sort of game and it is meant to be a difficult game. It's just it's a little much. It is the tiniest bit too much. But more cars. I don't want to see this stop with Acceleracers cars. As it is, we have Nightburner, which was never in Acceleracers in any way, shape or form. It is just a Hot Wheels car. I want to see awesome cars like the Twin Mill Type E. I want to see the Trueno from Initial D. I want to see all the World Race cars as well as the Acceleracers cars. Heck, put some Battle Force 5 cars in there. I want to see so many Hot Wheels cars in this game. I want to see this game hit the hundreds in the cars. The realms, all 30 realms from the series, which includes the cards, because there's 30 realms by cards, but there's only about 15 or so in the movies. Probably not even that. So Kat has taken the liberty? One or two. Kat has put it upon himself to design some of the realms that only ever existed as a trading card. So that's awesome that he's doing that. And I'd like to see all of those tracks. I'd also like to see the World Race tracks included. And probably just like the excess tracks, like when at the start of Acceleracers Ignition, then racing on a cliffside mountain race sort of thing. A highway race there, just a street race essentially. I would love to see that track in this. I would love to see the race between Torque and Wild to Tesla's Cube and back. That was another really cool track to see. Having the Highway 35 tracks in it would be good too, so we don't necessarily have to stop at 30 tracks, although 30 tracks is insanity. So, generally a racing game like this, you get, 10 tracks? Maybe 20? So 30 tracks is a massive number for a racing game, and here's me being like, no, I want to see more. Honestly, the game is great as it is. Some of the models could use a little work on their interiors, but otherwise that's fine. Like, interiors are very, very minor. There is an aspect of you can turn on engine damage, where if you shift wrong or don't shift in time, you redline your car too much, your engine can take damage and eventually blow up. I think that needs a little more life. So it's too easy to blow an engine. I think that should be a little harder than it is to blow an engine. But, again, that's all up to Kat. Realistically, this game can be improved by being finished, and it's going to take time. So the biggest improvement that I can see in this game is patience from the community, while it does get the work and time and effort put into it that it needs. That's realistically the only improvement this game needs, is just everyone to wait and let Cat do his thing. He's done a great job. The progress he has made in this game in just, what, 2 months, I think it is, has been insanity. So story, 3 out of 10. The campaign single player side of it, I've rated a 7 out of 10. Multiplayer, it's unfair to grade, so I haven't actually graded that one. Fun, 8 out of 10. Replayability is a 7 out of 10. Big shout out to the Cat Plays Games for not only letting me play as the game is right now, but also allowing me to do this review, giving me his blessing for it. It's a brilliant game. It is one of the hardest racing games out there, and I highly recommend that you take a look at it. I will put a link in the description to his YouTube channel. From there are links to his Discord where you'll be able to download the game. It's brilliant, it's fun. Just give it a crack.